And welcome to my YouTube channel. So once again I am Indranuj, and in my last lecture I discussed the first stanza of Shelley's poem Ode to the West Wind, and those who have already watched it, they would be able to relate to the current video which I would be sharing, and those who haven't watched it yet, I would provide the link in the description box, and first watch the video and then you would be able to understand better what I would discuss in this video. So let's get started. The second stanza of Ode to the West Wind. Right. Thou on whose stream mid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed, shook from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean. Angels of rain and lightning there are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce Maenad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height. The locks of the approaching storm, thou dirge of the dying air, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre, halted with all thy congregated might, of vapours from whose solid atmosphere black rain and fire and hell will burst. Oh, here. So, in the previous stanza, we dealt with the impact, the tumultuous impact, the monstrous impact the west wind has on the earth, on the leaves, the dead leaves, right? So, on the, what should I say? On the trees, on the leaves, on the seeds, the aspects of the plant world. But in the present stanza, the huge impact the west wind has on the atmosphere, the movement of the air, the movement of the clouds, the flow of the ocean, these things are also affected by the tremendous power of the west wind, much like the leaves as we saw in the previous stanza. So I will be dealing with this thing actually. So in this stanza, what the poet actually wants to say, the clouds are the messengers of rain and lightning, and the locks of the stormy wind, the west wind, as I said that the west wind is personified by the poet, and it is being attributed the qualities of a human being, and in this stanza the west wind is being compared to that of a Maenad, a demonic woman, a Maenad. So the west wind is being compared to that. The locks of the stormy wind are as wild as those on the head of the Maenad. So from here we can clearly visualize the tremendous destructive force the west wind is associated with. The thick vapors that congregate in the sky on a stormy night look like a vault of the tomb for the dead year, while the terrible west wind seems to sing the dirge of the dying year. The west wind is therefore responsible for the natural phenomena of cloudburst, of rain and lightning, and when the west wind flows through the ocean, it actually destroys each and everything. It is responsible for bringing rain and lightning, and rain and lightning is once again associated with the message of death and destruction. Yes, the message of death and destruction. The term for the dead year. The year is approaching to an end. The season of autumn means naturally it would be followed by winter, and the year is coming to an end. So the term dead year, and the term for the dead year. So we know that when someone dies, he is being buried, and sometimes a tomb is erected in his or her memory. And the attributes of the dead person, the attributes of death, are mentioned here. The dirge of the dying year. Dirge means a funeral song, which is sung when someone is buried in the graveyard. And the west wind seems to sing that song, the funeral song of the season of autumn and the arrival of winter, which brings with it more destruction. Yes, that is the thing. And the west wind is responsible for cloudburst, rain and lightning. Means throughout there is an atmosphere of something very terrible, something destructive, which the phenomena of nature to which we human beings perhaps have no answer. How to survive in such a critical situation, such a tumultuous situation, and how to save ourselves from this violent aspect of the west wind. Even the natural objects are like they are quite helpless in front of the west wind, be it the leaves or the clouds, the ocean, whatever it is. Now let us progress to the third stanza. The next one is: Thou who didst waken from his summer dreams, the blue Mediterranean where he lay, lulled by the coil of his crystalline streams, beside a pumice isle in Bay's Bay, and saw in sleep old palaces and towers, quivering within the wave's intenser day, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers, so sweet, the sense faints picturing them. Means there is an example of sensuousness, and we can also find the examples of sensuousness, the sense faints picturing them. So as the Mediterranean Sea, which is once again personified by the poet, is dreaming of the old palaces and towers, and it is overgrown with azure moss and flowers. The fragrance of the flowers perhaps bring a sense of lullaby, a sense of sleepiness, where the sense faints. There becomes a state of trance. As we go into a trance, dreaming of something which makes us happy. The Mediterranean Sea is likewise personified, who is supposed to be dreaming of old palaces and towers, and the sensuous fragrance of the azure moss and flowers is making it feel more sleepy. And what the west wind does? The west wind awakens the Mediterranean Sea from this sleep, the peaceful sleep, the happy state. The sea is awakened from this. And if you want to find more examples of sensuousness, more references to sensuousness, then you can obviously read John Keats' melodious composition Ode to a Nightingale. I would be dealing with this poem in a video anytime soon. There you would get the idea that how Shelley kids, they employed sensuousness, the sensuous beauty, sensuous pleasures to make poetry more and more appealing to the readers, right? So coming back to the stanza, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers, so sweet the sense faints picturing them. Thou for whose path the Atlantic's level powers cleave themselves into chasms, while far below the sea blooms, and the oozy woods which wear the sapless foliage of the ocean know the voice, and suddenly grow grey with fear, and tremble and despoil themselves. Oh, here. Yes, the destroyer, the aspect of the west wind, which is its destructive aspect. As I said, that dual aspect, destroyer as well as preserver. So the destructive aspect of the west wind comes to the fore once again. Yes, the west wind breaks the happy summer dreams of the moss-grown palaces and towers beneath the Mediterranean Sea. It cuts its passage to the surface of the Atlantic. The west wind ruffles the calm and transparent waters of the Mediterranean Sea and lashes of the Atlantic into rolling waves, shaking the trees and plants at the bottom of the ocean. Can you imagine what kind of power, what kind of Herculean power the west wind has? Yes, this is the quality of the west wind. Such is the quality of the west wind that each and every aspect of nature, the leaves, the clouds, the trees, even the ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, even they are helpless in front of the west wind. Right? Feeling interested? Yes? Willing to listen to the next stanzas? Hold on. I will be back with stanza 4 and 5 in my next video. Till then, good night.